ahead. Turn it up. It's The Record Machine with your host, Jimmy Howell.
She's not dumb. She's out of bath full of mistakes, down with a bang bang there when it all breaks, knows when it's not safe, fully loaded gun to blow. She knows. Let's take it day by day, but the shit still goes on. Yeah, name on my grave like a million in it all. I'm snooped up, dragged out, feeling right. It's a painless again, I just wanna be done. She's got a really fucked way of saying she's wrong. And girl, willing to sleep while she owns all every thought. She's scared she'll go off as insane down with some drinking waste till she's thinking pain when they're waking, only to rise some more. She sighs. We fight this life every day, but I'm still just a labor. It's not leading to my pain, so I give them all. I'm snooped up, dragged out, feeling right. It's a painless again, I just wanna be done. She's out of bath full of mistakes, done with a bang bang there when it all breaks, knows when it's not sick, scared that she's insane, down with some drinking, waste till she's thinking, pain when they're waking, only to write some more. She sighs. She says, it's take it day by day, but the shit still goes on. Yeah, name on my grave like a million in it all. I'm snooped up, dragged out, feeling right. It's a painless again when I just wanna be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome dream pop recording artist Speakeazie to the program. Where are we located today?
I'm in Minneapolis right now.
Oh, nice. What's the
I usually live here, and I don't leave much. Well, that's not true. These days I'm leaving more for work, but
What's the weather like there?
it's actually been kind of nice. It's been in the 30s.
Wow.
Where it's been in the single digits for a while and lots of snow, but apparently we're supposed to get more snow tomorrow, so it was like all melting, and I can already hear the sounds of Minnesotans crying.
I'm in North Myrtle Beach in South Carolina.
Nice.
Yeah, 62
Do you miss
degrees
Jersey
right
at
now.
all?
Do I miss?
Oh, that's nice.
No, I don't miss Jersey at all.
Yeah, I was actually I was raised in Florida, and I moved here about 3 or 4 years ago now. And I don't miss Florida at all.
Really?
And,
No?
yeah, people think I'm crazy, but I like seasons, and I like the city vibe a little more, the artistic city vibe, and I really like Midwestern cities. So
Now, growing up, did you partake in a lot of the music programs in school?
yeah, pretty much any program I could, realistically. I'm actually a classically trained musician. So, one thing that I liked, though, about doubling up on music is that I didn't have to go to gym.
That's true.
I mean, I actually do have like a rare knee condition. So when I was younger, I used to be super active. And then I found out in like the third grade that, I couldn't ever really do really active things, which sucked because I was really into running and, just dicking around, like on playgrounds and stuff. And, when I found that out, I was really devastated because I essentially became a bench warmer. I couldn't really do what the other kids did. And, when you're that young, you don't really like think about it. You just feel left out all the time. And
Right.
But when I got into middle school, that's when you could actually start taking music classes. And I ended up in my middle school, you were only really allowed to have one music class. But, I ended up being able, there's like this thing where if you doubled up on choir or band and orchestra or something, you wouldn't be required to take gym. And so I ended up doing that mostly because of my knee, but also because it's like, half of, I was in gym my first year of middle school, and it just, like, I really couldn't do half the stuff. So it turned into this terrible, annoying thing where, like, every few months I would have to bring, like, a note to the people because they're like, I mean, you look fine. It's like, yeah, I look fine, but I still have this like knee condition that I can't do much with. And so that's kind of when I started really getting into music. I was always really into music. But it wasn't until, choir was actually like the first time something really awakened in me where I wanted to pursue music in a more serious way. I just didn't ever really have, faith in my voice. Like, I never really liked my voice. I still don't, especially when making music. I'm like, man, and when you have to go through and you listen to it over and over again and look for balancing and stuff. And, when you isolate tracks, to get a better idea of where the flow is going or where the notes are going in comparison to other notes, like things like that. I'm like, ugh, this is just the worst. But when I was younger, it was so much like I thought, I can't be like a solo like vocalist. I'm good for choirs. I'm good for keeping the pitch going and keeping the harmonies going, but other than that, I didn't really have faith in myself when it came to like doing solo vocalist things. And I did a lot of like honor choir and honor band and stuff like that. So a lot of like out of school tryout things as well, and solo and ensembles. And I was fortunate enough to like have 2 good music programs. Like in middle school and in high school, I was really fortunate enough to have that. And our band program was super serious too. We ended up, doing parades in Chicago, and we were part of the Macy's Day Parade too my senior year. So
wow,
it was like
pretty cool.
It was like a really big grind for music. But after doing that grind though, I got out of high school and I was so sick of doing like classical stuff and like doing stuff for ratings and whatnot. I've always been a little more on the folky side, I would say. And, for years I just had to sit there and like grind out scales and like it was always on a rating system. And when I got into college, I didn't join the college band because I was like so done with doing, structured music. I do miss it a little bit, but I mostly just miss having full ensembles for things. You don't really get that when you leave like a structure like that, unless you put it together yourself, which, I was in school, so not as much time for that. And my major at the time had nothing to do with music. So I ended up like doing like folky things and like just going to like open mics. And like I know how to play guitar very basically. I really only learned guitar to because I got tired of asking people to play guitar while I sang. Do
you play any instruments or you just sing?
No, yeah, I play instruments. I play guitar and a little bit piano, and flute is what I mainly played.
Oh, so okay.
I trained under a professional flautist for most of my life, actually. So that's where all the competition and like rating stuff comes in.
Gotcha.
It was like a really competitive program that I was a part of, and just personal pushes from my my flute teacher, which I love her. She's been like just a great person in my life.
Mm-hmm. Influences. Who was some of yours? As far as music go.
Oh wow. I would say my biggest, which sounds super opposite and totally weird, would be Slipknot. Actually, they're my all-time favorite band, and I'm actually a really big metalhead.
Very cool.
Preferably like new metal and death metal, I would say, are my two favorite subgenres of metal. But yeah, I grew up listening to a lot of metal, and I still listen to a lot of metal. But I would say musically, like bands like Slipknot really inspired me. Just the ability to like take whatever darkness you have and like put it on your sleeve there, and present it the way that you feel it needs to be presented in order for like your feelings to really get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I really like about music, is that it's always been able to really make me feel. And so that's what I really focus on with music, especially, is like, does it make you feel,
Right.
In what way does it make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And can it like awaken things in you that no other thing can? And I always found that like music was something that did that. It like awakened something that no other form of art or person or something ever did for me. And honestly, another one would be, I really like Slow Dive. Slow Dive's they're very atmospheric.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they're like one of those bands that you can just turn on in the car and like sob to instantly, and you kind of don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that's because it's like, oh, maybe there's something I haven't dealt with yet. So Slow Dive's another cool one. I'm super bad with coming up with things on the spot too. So I'm gonna be like going to bed tonight and think of like 10 other artists that really inspire me. But I would say those are the two that come to mind right
Very
now.
cool. Can you describe your music?
Oh, I kind of struggle with that actually, because I take from so many like subgenres of music.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like dreamy bedroom or synth pop.
Okay.
As far as like direct adjectives, sometimes it's a little dark, sometimes it's a little deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, like, I think of it as like music that paints a picture. And like depending on what the music is like, depends on like the kinds of paints that you're using, essentially, is sometimes how I think of it. And I really sometimes I take some of those like choir influences and put it in there, but it really just depends on the mood. I never really know what I'm going to be getting into when I'm writing music.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed what I've heard so far. I think it's really great. The name Speakeazie, how did you acquire that name?
Well, so I'm very fascinated with the 1920s. I've always felt like a very strong connection and pull towards the 1920s. It's one of the reasons why actually I love being in the Twin Cities so much, because the 1920s industrial history here, and the gangster history and whatnot is very, very strong, and I feel like it's one of the few places that keeps it so alive.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I love going to speakeasies, and not only were they like a prominent part of Prohibition and stuff, but I also have like rich family history from the 1920s that was very involved in Prohibition and stuff. So there's always this like weird connection that I have with it.
Mm-hmm.
I also just I'm a big liquor. I'm a big appreciator of liquor as well, and the different flavors and stuff. I'm a big whiskey person, so of course I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy going to speakeasies, like modern speakeasies. But it's just a name that has always really resonated with me. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I guess I just like the secretiveness of them, and like, it's like containing something, but it's all in there, like, because speakeasies are pretty, at least at the time, they were pretty lively, and so I just like the idea of like something very secretive, but there's still a lot going on inside, and maybe it's right, maybe it's not, and I would have not spelt it as Speakeazie with the Z, but unfortunately the Speakeazie as an artist name was already taken, and I ended up warming up to Speakeazie though, because I think that people don't see me as like a tribute band or something, because when you think of like a band or an artist called Speakeazie, you probably think, oh, it's some 1920s tribute band kind of thing,
Right.
So at first I kind of was like disappointed that I couldn't have that artist name, but I actually ended up really warming up to like the EZ part with the Z. So
Right.
yeah.
Your debut album titled Prohibition Hippie. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I love that title name.
It's very cool.
When I first came up with that, I was like, this is it. This is what it's all about. And the whole point of Prohibition Hippie is like, I always found I had like really two distinct sides of myself. I have a very like loving, nurturing, like spiritual, open-minded side. And then there's the other side of me where like step up and see what happens. I just have a very like, I wouldn't say I go out of my way to like find fights or anything, but there is like this like protective, aggressive side of me. Mm-hmm. And like, it does not fit with the other side of me whatsoever. Like, it's very like yin and yang. And so that's what one of the things I wanted to capture within Prohibition Hippie is that it's like, prohibition is very like dark, almost. And then, when people think of a hippie, they're usually like open-minded and, willing to talk and willing to converse in a positive way that influences the rest of the world in a positive way. And so, I have found in my life that I've really struggled with those two sides, because I don't go looking for fights or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't, whether that be physically, with words, no matter what, I don't really go looking for fights. But then there's that part of me that is quite the fighter. And, I can get very protective and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole point of Prohibition Hippie, is that it encapsulates that idea of that yin and yang a little bit, but more personally for me. Mm-hmm. And so like, you can even see that on the album art. My really good friend does the album art. His name's Ian Owens, and he did a really good job kind of depicting what I wanted. But, even in the album art, it's like you have this, this naked and very bare woman holding a revolver to her head, mm-hmm. but she's also like blossoming out of a flower. And there's these vines on these trees that are kind of like wrapped around her as well. And, I see it as the whole point of that picture was to capture the fact that we can sometimes be very toxic to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And like, I can still be a fighter, but I don't have to be a toxic fighter. Right. And I don't have to like be 1 inch away from the self-destruct button all the time, with my emotions and, with my history and stuff like that. And it's something that I've seen like in my family as well, is that self-destruct, line. I have a lot of, like I said, a lot of rich family history, but my great grandfather was in the mob and a bootlegger and stuff like that, and it's kind of like this like strength and like recklessness and fighting for for what mm-hmm. is like kind of like passed down the line, and I definitely feel like I have a little of that in me as well. but there's that nurturing side that kind of pulls that away. And again, like that's the whole concept behind the album, is like working through your trauma, and not reacting in a negative way.
Cool. This podcast will feature two of your songs, Disintegrate and I'm Crushed in His Gaze. What's the story behind the songs?
Disintegrate is, I would say that's the one that I identify with the most. It's essentially about being objectified instead of seen for your intelligence or your artistic capabilities, or just like another equal creature. I feel like from a very young age, I was very objectified as a woman. Most importantly, for me personally, like that's what it means to me. Is just being objectified as a woman and being a young woman and trying to go through the swamp of that. When you're young, you don't know everything. And a lot of things can be very misleading. And it was something that I always found pretty gross and annoying, was that, sometimes people would want to give me opportunities because they liked the way I looked, and they didn't want to see any of my ideas. Like I work, my full-time job is I work in the gaming industry. And, that's something other than just like growing up in other instances, is that it's a male dominated industry. And even if it's gotten a little better, it's still like really bad with how women game developers and designers and stuff are looked at. We're not given as much attention as, your average male developer. And so, I have had instances in recent times, especially, where it's like, are you even listening to any of the ideas I have, or are you more interested in what I can offer you? And and I've seen it in so many instances in my life. That's just like the most recent one that I can think of. And it's about like feeling like an object all the time. And like the line, I still feel like a laid prop, because that's what it does feel like sometimes, feeling like a laid prop. And just dealing with the emotions. I have broken down quite a few times, because it's like, why? Like, why does it have to be like this? It's like sometimes people can only focus on one thing, and it's really frustrating, especially when you value art and like sharing art with people so much. So the whole song is about just spiraling out of control, because it's too much to take, and it's too much to understand, like as a young woman especially, and falling into alcoholism too, and just losing it. Falling into addiction, because it's easier to deal with the reality of being objectified all the time. And it's not just about women though. I would say like the song is for everyone. If you ever feel like someone is just using you, essentially at the end of the day, like the whole concept of the song is someone not looking at you as an equal and someone just using you.
Yeah, I would think that at least everyone has probably had a similar experience at least once in their life, right? Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I always say this song, even if like being a woman is what it means to me, it can mean something to everyone, no matter your sex or race or anything like that. Like it can mean something to everyone, because you're right. I do feel like everyone in their lives has felt that way at some point. Of course. The song is open for interpretation. What you may think the song's about, somebody else may take it a different way, right?
Yeah, of course. And I totally welcome that. I do that with all kinds of songs as well, because it's true. Like shit hits, in different ways.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, right? If it was only about what what it means to me, then, you know, what's the point of releasing the song? You know, in my opinion. But
right.
Yeah.
What about I'm Crushed?
That one is more based on, like, when I would say it takes like more of an abusive relationship stance. Where, and it was actually inspired from 1920s like silent films. You know, the way that the relationships were in the 1920s, they were obviously like not very stable, most of them, and pretty abusive for the most part, especially with you know, rights between different races and you know, sexes and stuff like that. So that was like my first inspiration. And, you know, I have had, you know, some experience with abusive relationships in the past. And so the song is really about like loving someone so much, but also knowing that they're incredibly like toxic and not really sure what to do about it, because it kind of sucks to live without them, but it sucks even more to live with them.
Right.
And so, you know, the concept of the song is it's definitely comes from more of a place of fantasy as far as like, you know, the verbiage that's used in the song. It's essentially, you know, a woman, she wants out of this relationship, but she's also there to like heal all these wounds that this man or, you know, woman may be feeling. And he, you know, she's at the point where she has a gun, she's ready to kill him, but she just can't. And so it's pretty much symbolic to most relationships, where you really want to get out of it, but you just can't, and you don't know how to. And, you know, there's part of you that figures this person just, I don't know what to do for them anymore. Because they're going to keep snapping on me and they're going to keep coming back at me. Even if it's good for a little while, it's going to keep coming back to this. And like, I don't know if this person can change. So do I do something about it and not only help myself, or do I just continue to be with this person? And again, it comes from a more like fantasy kind of setting, with the way that it's presented in the song. But that's essentially like the gist of it.
Cool. If you could do a collaboration with anyone, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. A first artist that comes to mind would be Number One Dad. I really like his music a lot. And I feel like it has like this very atmospheric vibe to it as well that I really appreciate. So I would say him. And I don't know if I really have one off the top of my head. Like I said, I'm really bad at coming up with things off the top of my head. I'll be going to bed tonight and I'll be like, oh, here's 5 artists that would be super fun to collaborate with. You know, there are some vocalists that I really like that would be cool to collab with, but they don't necessarily like have the style that really matches mine, but I still like their music. You know, like Leon Bridges, I really like his music, but it's like we do not have the same music at all. So but I just think that he's a cool vocalist and I like what he does with his music.
What about Corey Taylor?
Oh, that's not even negotiable. Yes.
Did you like the Stone Sour too, or?
Yes, I did love Stone Sour.
I love Stone Sour. I think that was a great little side thing that he had going on besides Slipknot, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't get enough credit in my books. Like,
I agree with you.
It gets credit in the metal world ish, in like the hard rock world, but it's like, yeah, nah. The earlier albums were like, I'm the person that, you know, listens to the 1994 like Stone Sour demo track and just get down to it. Like, I definitely a committed fan when it comes to that. And I actually just interviewed Corey Taylor not long ago through my company. So that was a dream come true, because Corey Taylor is actually one of my biggest idols my entire life. Like, he was the guy I put on my walls as a kid.
Cool.
So I had his face like everywhere. So it was a dream come true to actually like get to like sit down and talk with him. And yeah, definitely one of my biggest inspirations. But I would love to collab with him. I don't know if he'd ever want to collab with me, but
hey,
that would
know.
be super fun. Yeah, you never know. I'm not cut off to anything. And you know, I was very conflicted. I was like, do I want to do a metal band or do I want to do what I'm doing now? Mm-hmm. And so obviously I picked the Speakeazie side of things, and that's where I'm at.
Very cool. Do you have a website that you'd like to promote?
No, not yet. It is in the works, but I have pretty much everything else. I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all kinds of things.
Now, are they all under the name Speakeazie?
Yes, they are. Very
cool. Now, is there anything that you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
I think we pretty much covered it all, unless you got anything else.
Well, I'm pretty good. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. You know, like if you had any shows coming up that you want to talk about, or. Oh yeah, I do have a pretty short notice, but I do have a show on Thursday. Okay. With headlining Begonia's headlining it. It's at 7th Street, First Avenue in Minneapolis. So very excited about that because that's actually like my first. It's going to be my first show under Speakeazie. So your video Disintegrate, that's up on YouTube, correct? Yeah. And that just came out not long ago. I'm currently working on an EP too called Bootlegger Blood. That's going to be coming out in spring of this year. And I do want to shout out my co-producer Victor Cross. He's the guy who helps me put all of this together and make it not sound like it came out of, you know, the back of a dumpster truck. So I couldn't do it without him. He is based out of Germany though, so he's not he's not like physically around, although things would be a lot easier if he was. Very cool. Will there be another video? Definitely. I actually wanted to do a video for Unquestioned as Gays that depicts kind of like that more fantasy scenery, but it just depends. You know, I would like to make music videos for more of my songs, but it's just a lot of work. I think I grinded out because I made the Disintegrate music video through and through, and I just grinded out hours and hours for it. And I don't always have that time with everything going on. So, and I also like have to just kind of think of what I want to do and what I'm actually capable of doing with what I have. Because I think it's a little unrealistic for me to hire someone on at the moment. But I wouldn't be against it in the future. It's just a matter of like financial things, of course. Very cool. Well, Abby, I want to thank you so much for taking time out and talking with me today. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. You're welcome, and I want to wish you best of luck with this album, and best of luck with the EP and the show coming up. And keep in touch when the EP comes out. If you want to come back on, shoot me an email. All right? Yeah, I'll forward it your way. All right, sounds good. Well, you take care and have a blessed day. All right? You as well. Thank you. All right, you take care. Bye. Bye-bye. Telling me how you feel. Get your hand across my face like it's some kind of steel. Oh, I've been Smith and Wesson and I waiting for a blow to smack. I got a chance to attack when I think